joining us here this afternoon at this, our second of our tax webinars. I suppose the second we've had with Joyce and somebody from Roberts Nathan, but first of the year, and please God, this will all go to plan. So just want to let you all know, first of all, that the meeting is, or the webinar is being recorded. And the reason for that is that we can put it up on our website and people can review it back at their own leisure, or for people who can't join us today at 1 o'clock, they'll be able to see it on our website as well. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Jill Brennan. I am the CEO of the Celiac Society of Ireland, and I am delighted today to be joined by Loyalty Lead for Tesco, Joyce Kelly there, and also Amy Hartnett, who's a tax manager with Roberts Nathan, business advisor and in audit and tax, and also the accountants to the Celiac Society of Ireland. So we are delighted to have everybody here today on the call with us. I do know there are still some people coming in, and I just want to let people take their time to join in. And I hope everybody is all settled down and has their pen and paper at the ready to take notes on this. It's a very straightforward process, everybody, just to let you know, but Joy or Amy will go through that with you first in relation to how you go about claiming back your tax through your Med 1s. And also as well then Joyce will go through how you can actually get a statement or a certificate of your gluten-free spend with Tesco as well, okay? So like I said, I just want to let everybody have an opportunity to join us. You know, we're still getting people in here now, and the numbers are really really cranking up here. So just let me make sure that on my screen that I can see everybody, because I'm not familiar with doing this on Teams, but we'll be grand. It'll all work on. I have a very capable second in command in the background, Jennifer Morrow, who is your comms manager here at the Celiac Society of Ireland. Okay. So first of all, again, welcome to everybody. Hi, Jen. See, Jen said hello. It's great. So again, welcome to everybody, and we are delighted to have so many people join us this afternoon, and we do hope that this is of interest to you. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the floor over to Amy Hartnett, who is the tax manager with Roberts Nathan, business advisors in audit and tax, and also, like I said, the accountants, the auditors to the Celiac Society of Ireland. And what Amy's going to go through is basically how you go about claiming back your tax on your gluten-free certificates through the year. All right, so over to you, Amy.
Hi everyone. So yeah, as Jill said, I will go through how to claim back the tax on any spending you do on gluten-free products. So basically, what revenues say is that if the food is specifically manufactured to be gluten-free, you can claim a health expense of 20%. So just to distinguish, I suppose, if the food is already gluten-free, you couldn't claim tax refund on that. So the best example of that would be rice. But if the product specifically says gluten-free, or like for example, gluten-free bread or pasta, that you could claim tax back on your spending on that. So basically what you can get is 20% tax back. So 20% of your total spend, and there's no limit on this, or there's no higher level. You just can claim it on whatever you spend and any other health expenses you may have then as well. So you can go back 4 years. So if you haven't claimed any expenses back since 2018 now, you can you can go and amend any returns you've made or make a new return to claim the relief back on that. And then it's also important to note that you have to hold onto any receipts for a period of 6 years, because revenue can come looking at your return at any stage during those 6 years. So it's a very straightforward process. And many of you might be familiar with the Med 1 form. Unfortunately, they're gone now, so you can't actually make any claims through a Med 1. And it's if you're a self-assessed individual and you're already registered for income tax, you make it through your normal Form 11 and just include it as a health expense on that. If you are a PAYE worker, the best way to go about doing it is through my account. So it's on revenue. So it's basically where you manage your tax affairs, and within that there's a section where you review your tax, and you can input your health expenses. Then you're basically filing income tax return, but you do it all online and it's done automatically. And that can be amended at any stage then as well. So if you have already put one in for 2021 or 2020 and you haven't included your gluten free expenses, you can go back and claim the relief now. So that's just through Revenue's My Account. And then it's also important to note that if you have not paid any tax during the year because your income is below the thresholds, or you don't pay any tax due to the personal or employee credits, you won't be able to claim a refund of tax back on any expenses you make. So through the My Account online, you can also sorry, I think there's people having trouble hearing. Can people hear me?
I can hear you, Amy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can hear you fine as well, Amy.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So sorry. Oh yeah, through on Revenue's My Account, you can see there's a receipts tracker there. So if you get a lot of receipts, you can upload them every time you get one, which is quite handy, because then when it comes to filing your return, you can once it goes to filing return, the figure comes in automatically, and it can tell you that this is what's available to claim relief on. Now, you don't have to track them on Revenue's website, but it is helpful to do so, so you don't lose track of anything. But as Joyce will go through, you can actually contact the supermarkets that you do purchase gluten-free products from, and if you have a loyalty program there, they'll be able to give you a printout as well of what your spend is. So yeah, I think that's really it. There's not much more, but of course I think there'll be questions at the end if anyone has anything. So
okay, so Amy, just to recap then, just so everybody knows, the statement on the revenue website, and again in the tax law, is very clear. It has to be gluten-free foods that are specifically manufactured to be gluten-free. Okay, so really what we would be suggesting to people here is that it has to say gluten-free on the label. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And just also to remind people that the standard, I suppose, the marginal rate is what's applied to your med receipts, which is 20%. So basically, if you put in €1,000 of medical receipts, it's 20% of that you will get in return. No more, no less. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So just again to remind people, you can't now actually fill out a physical Med1 form. You have to do it online. Revenue are pushing everybody online. And again, am I right in that, Amy?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So if you are and you have an income that you are getting an income and you are taxed on that income, if you're paying income tax, you can then do your Med1 receipt returns through your My Account on the revenue.ie website. Now you do have to sign up for that and get a PIN and all of that. So it's important that you go about doing that. Now, I personally have found the revenue when I was doing this for myself a couple of years ago very helpful. Now, I do know that they have been swamped over the last 2 years, and of course would be reduced in people and numbers working because of the pandemic. But if you are patient with them, they will actually send you out a PIN number and get set up on that. Okay. We are making a note, by the way, of all the questions that are coming in the chat, and we will follow up with some of those as we go along. But for now, what I want to say to you is I did notice somebody say there about keeping count of your receipts. Now, yes, it is difficult in some regards to keep all of the receipts that you have for gluten-free food, but Tesco do every little bit helps, remember. And this is where Joyce comes in. So Joyce, tell me what Tesco can do for their customers who have specifically written on their Clubcard holders who have specifically said they're celiac or need to have a gluten-free diet.
Sure. Jill, firstly, thank you very much for the invitation. I was delighted to come back again.
We're delighted to have you.
Thanks very much. I thought I might give just a little bit of a tiny introduction to Clubcard for maybe some of our colleagues who are on the call who maybe don't have a Clubcard. So just very, very briefly, how Clubcard works. So when you get your plastic card, or indeed if you download your card to your phone, you collect points when you shop at Tesco. And then 3 times a year, you receive Clubcard vouchers. They're essentially money that you can use against face value with your groceries, or indeed you can increase their value by 3 times, up to 3 times with our reward partners. And for anybody who is interested in signing up, it's really easy to do. It's tesco.ie/clubcard/register. It's an online experience and it literally takes 2 minutes from start to finish. Then in terms of if anybody's interested in looking up reward partners, it's tesco.ie/clubcard boost. And then particularly coming to one of the savings for customers, which of course is a little help with gluten-free specific spend. Important that when customers join Clubcard, or if for existing Clubcard members, that they use the marketing preference for celiac, and they can check that they have that ticked, or indeed they can change it by calling our helpline, and our helpline is 1-800-248-123, and our colleagues will be only delighted to put that onto your account. And by doing that, what that actually means then is that every spring statement, so once a year, we send our statements out generally around springtime, August and November, and you will receive a certificate of your celiac specific spend. So again, Amy, going back to your definition, which was really clear earlier, this will be on items that qualify for the 20% tax. And on the certificate, for those of you who've already received it, it gives a full list of every single item that we've sold, whether it be Tesco brand or supplier brand, that the and on this certificate, it gives the customer the total amount that they have spent on celiac specific items during the year. Just anticipating a question, Jill, if I may. Sometimes what happens is if a customer maybe hasn't qualified for a statement, or they may lose their certificate, from time to time they'll get in touch with us and ask, can we reissue the statement? That's absolutely no problem.
Oh, great.
So all they need to do is get in touch with the helpline and request that their certificate is sent to them. But the key thing is obviously make sure that you use your Clubcard every time you purchase, because that's what we use to help track the total spend.
Great. Okay, so just coming back, there's a couple of questions here on this. So just want to reiterate that if you have any questions about the loyalty card or the club card for PIP members who already have that, they can call the helpline, Joyce, 1-800-248-123.
Correct.
Grand. Perfect. Okay. Well, we can put that into the information that we put up with this webinar as well. Okay. Now, there are a couple of questions coming in here on the chat, girls. So I'm just going to go through them very quickly with you if I can. All right. What if the item on the receipt is not marked as gluten-free? Can that still be claimed as gluten-free? I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so. No, it would have to
again, looking at the cold text from revenue, it's gluten-free food specifically manufactured to be gluten-free. Okay. If you upload the receipts to my account in revenue, do we need to keep the receipts for 6 years in hard copy still? The answer to that is yes. A very definitive yes. Okay. Do I need to have a cert from a doctor confirming I'm a celiac? Again, the answer to that is a yes. But that's something else we can take off there. Does peanut butter qualify? It is a processed food. If it's gluten-free.
If it's gluten-free and it specifically says gluten-free.
Yeah. Now, here's one for you, Joyce. Will the loyalty card statement provided by the store detailing all products purchased suffice in lieu of all the individual receipts? So in other words, do I have to keep my receipts or will the statement suffice?
So our experience in the past, Jill, has been the certificate is acceptable, but I still think you need to keep your receipts just in case. And that's very much a just in case anybody wants to audit the receipts. But I actually don't know, has that ever happened, Jill, to be fair? But I think it's a stipulation that you keep them for 6 years.
It is a stipulation. You hold on to the receipts for 6 years. And I personally don't know of anybody who has been audited by revenue for their Med one. But having said that, maybe Amy knows of somebody who was personally audited for their Med one. I think, to be honest with you, I think revenue have bigger fish to fry than people doing their Med one returns. But having said that, I think it's important that the message is very clear from the Celiac Society. Hold on to your receipts for 6 years. All you need to do is put them into a folder and forget about them after you've done the Med one return. Yeah, okay.
Can I just pop in there for a second?
Yeah, of course you can.
On the receipts, if they don't say gluten-free, but if Tesco have categorized them as gluten-free when the statement comes out, I would think then that would be sufficient. So
okay, that's a good point as well, Amy.
Yeah, so,
that is a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can
just to reiterate that, if it doesn't say gluten-free on the receipt, but Tesco on the certification that comes out has classified that product as certified for celiacs and gluten within the gluten-free category, that will suffice. All right. Okay. Let me see now. Here we go. We have a question about potato waffles. This is interesting because this is something that has been believe it or not, it's a conversation that's been going on in the office here for the last 2 weeks. What about gluten-free potato waffles? Potatoes are generally gluten-free, but the bird's eye packaging for potato waffles specifically states gluten-free. Now, this comes round as well to different legislation. You can only put gluten-free on a product if it has been tested to be gluten-free. You can't say otherwise, and this is where it comes into play. So this is something we were discussing here in the office. Are potato waffles gluten-free if it doesn't say gluten-free on the box? See, my understanding of that is that if it says, if it's in our book, if it's in the Celiac Society book, and we have a declaration from the manufacturer that states that the product is gluten-free and that it has been produced in an environment where there is no cross-contamination risk, then to us, that product is gluten-free. Okay, this is something I want to bring up at revenue, and I am just finalising a person in revenue to speak with in relation to this. So it is something that we will certainly look into. But I want to state very clearly and categorically, anything that is in the Celiac Society food list is there because the manufacturer can prove that it has been tested to have less than 20 parts per million of gluten in it. And they have also signed a declaration that states that the product has been produced in an environment where there is no cross-contamination risk. Okay, so under law, you can only state a product is gluten-free if it has been tested to be less than 20 parts per million. And the only reason that it's in our book then is that added extra security that it has been produced in an environment where there is little to no risk of cross-contamination. Okay, definitely look into the whole potatoes waffles issue. It's a little bit more complex than you would think, but it is something we're on to look into. Amy, thanks for the info, says Chris. Thank you, Chris. I have 2 questions. Two questions. Number 1, Avonmore fresh cream is marked as gluten-free in Tesco. So can that be claimed if it's in the gluten-free category, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Grand, okay. And I'll let you answer the next one, Amy. Unrelated to supermarket spend, can you claim an expense on food in a restaurant if the item is marked as being gluten-free? Again, a very good question, Chris, because this is something that comes up a lot. Celiac members of the society who go out to eat and they eat from the gluten-free menu in the restaurant, can they claim that back?
I don't think so. I don't think anything in a restaurant is allowed as a receipt. It's just food you buy to prepare meals for yourself. It's
okay, yeah, that would be my understanding. It comes back to, again, looking at the text, the very cold, clear text. You must purchase gluten-free food specifically manufactured to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
The proviso, of course, on that is that for people will look at that is that, yeah, but I'm purchasing a product that is manufactured and gone into the dinner I'm eating in the restaurant. But it's a bit like, you can't claim, people who are not celiac or diabetic can't go out and claim a meal a receipt for a meal in a restaurant. Let me look into those, Chris, as they are definitely 2 things I want to bring up with revenue when we have a chat with them. Here we are, Joyce, one for you. I used to have a club card. Card.
Makes me sad to hear that.
I know. Can someone check this for me? Carmel, I would say if you called that free phone number we gave out
Yep.
there, 1800 248 123, that somebody will be able to help you there. Is that correct, Joyce?
That is correct. And the only thing, unfortunately, because you haven't been using your club card this year, or last year, I should say, we won't have tracked your spend. But I
Okay.
would say get a new card. It'll only take a couple of weeks, or you can download it onto your phone. You can go to the App Store, download Tesco Ireland and club cards in there, or ring the free phone number, and then start using it straight away. And then you'll start to receive your certificates.
Okay. So we're just a couple of questions here about keeping the receipts. Guys, can't emphasize this enough, and I think Amy will nod vigorously to this. Keep your receipts. You have to keep them for 6 years, irrespective. And we think it's important that if you do get a statement from Tesco, you at least keep those receipts to try and back up as much of that statement as you possibly can, okay? And yes, even if you've submitted pictures to revenue of those receipts, keep the hard copies. Really important you keep those hard copies. Now, hang on a second. Oh, another club card question. Joyce chases the rolling
Lovely.
now.
Lovely.
Once you are registered with Tesco as a celiac, does every shop register the purchases that you make, even if you do it in the store and not online?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Once
So
you use your club
regardless,
card.
once you use your club card, yeah.
Yeah. So think of the club card there, Teresa, who asked that question. Take that as being like your key cards to get in and to make sure that they keep everything for you.
Yeah.
Your club card is unique, so every thing that you then put through the till on that club card will be recorded against your club card, and then it'll come out again. Okay. Now, when will we get the certs for 2021, Joyce? The statements.
Our next statement will be going out in early April.
Okay.
So that'll be the next one. And then again, if anybody is looking for a repeat, or if they don't receive a statement, just call the number and you'll have it in a matter of a couple of weeks.
Okay, I see Rosemary put up the Tesco helpline number there in the chat. Thank you, Rosemary. Be very good for doing that. Yeah, does anybody know? And I mean, this is just a general question, Joyce. I mean, given that you do work in retail and in the supermarket sector, for smaller stores, for example, like Londis, like how do you, if you do something, can you get something from them, or is that something that you just have to keep the receipts yourself? They don't actually do a specific recording. It's about how you can record. So if you think about it, yeah.
So I think if I'm right, SuperValu have the scheme like ourselves, and I'm not sure about how anybody else is doing it.
Yeah, so think about it this way, guys. If you have a loyalty card, and you know, it's a loyalty card similar to the way that Tesco and SuperValu and Dunnes run their loyalty schemes, that they once you do your shop and you scan your loyalty card, all of your shop is then recorded against that loyalty card. And then it's up to each individual supermarket how they then manage and get the information back out to you. Okay. I'm going to try and get through as many of the questions as I have here in chat, and then I do see there are a couple of hands up, so I will come to you, don't worry, okay? Joyce, is there a list of products that Tesco sells that are gluten-free? This is a question now, not for me. And if they are marked as gluten-free, are they 100% suitable for a celiac diet?
So, and what we do is we work with our commercial department and with your good selves as well, and we gather all of the gluten-free products, whether they be, I have an old sample here in front of me, whether they're brands, some well-known brands or Tesco, and that's actually in the certificate. It's a 4-page certificate. All the items that qualify are inside of it. So there's lots of them. There's Tesco, there's some of the brands you'd be very familiar with, but there's hundreds and hundreds of items. Is the question more about, could we send a list of what we stock? Is that more about?
That doesn't seem to be the question. It's more the fact, I suppose, if they're marked gluten-free, are they 100% suitable for a celiac diet? And how, again, it comes round, Chris, is that Tesco have supplied us with a declaration for the products that they can stand over that have less than 20 parts per million in it, okay? And also have been produced in an environment where there is little or no risk to cross-contamination, okay? And by little, I mean that the production lines are well away and cleaned down, and good manufacturing practices are adhered to. Okay, we try and go for no risk of cross-contamination. So I want to be very clear about that. All right, the products in the list all all can be stood over by the manufacturer or the person who is selling them, that they are gluten-free and produced in a safe environment. Okay. Amy, finally a question for you. Can I claim on behalf of my 5-year-old celiac daughter? Okay, so
Yeah.
the doctor's letter is in her name, but mom is paying income tax.
Yeah, she can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up to the time the girl is 18, isn't that correct?
If she's paying for them up until when she, like, if that woman is paying for the products up until she stops paying for them,
Okay.
it doesn't matter
okay.
what age. Yeah.
Okay, so once the daughter starts working, obviously in the next 5 years, because we send her out to work at 10, when she starts earning income tax in her own right, and then she can do her own med one. Is that right?
She can do her own then, yeah. But if
perfect,
whoever
okay.
pays for them can get the relief, that's no
Okay.
problem.
So this is, I even got an image of this in on the chat here, Joyce. A lot of receipts don't reflect the gluten-free status. Sometimes, say for example, a well-known brand can just scan as white rolls. I see one here as well where it just scanned as bread, but obviously this is a person who is doing gluten-free shop. I presume that bread has a specific code, and that code is then recognized as falling within the gluten-free category on the Tesco database.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we have.
So people shouldn't be worrying so much about whether or not it says gluten-free on the receipt. Really, where they need to be looking and focusing on is the certificate when they get it, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Correct.
Okay. And Amy, then from a tax perspective, okay, now we know how well Tesco are looking after that side of things for their gluten-free and their celiac customers. But from a tax perspective, assuming, like, say, for example, that was say another supermarket where it says the same thing, it says bread. Like, I mean, if that person knows that the bread they bought is gluten-free bread, they can still claim for that, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
even
okay.
though the receipt doesn't say gluten-free, if it is gluten-free, they're well in their rights to claim the tax back.
Yeah, people, you have to remember here, this is self-assessment, and revenue do realise that there is some leeway on this, all right, and that everybody's not a tax accountant. So it's important to realise that, you know, you be true to yourself when you're making your tax return. That's the best way to go about it. It really is, be true to yourself, okay? Now, I do see that Eileen Delaney has her hand up. Eileen, do you want to ask a question, or is it... See if I can unmute you. Don't see any question coming.
Yeah.
Oh, you do have a question.
Can you
Fire
hear
ahead
me
there.
now?
Yeah, I can, Eileen.
Can
Off
you
you
hear
go.
me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Last week I've just been diagnosed as having
Eileen, can you hear us?
gluten. Yeah, I'm actually in the hospital, so they're okay. So
Okay.
basically, what I am, if you go into Simple Value or in Lidl in Radler, can you claim if you're buying gluten-free food? Can you claim your money back on those?
Yes, you can, Eileen.
From
As long
those
as you have the
shops
as
as
long
well
as
as
you have.
Tesco's.
Yeah, absolutely. You can claim back from any retail environment that you have a receipt from where you have bought gluten-free foods. You can claim those back on your Med One. You just can't claim back for food that you buy in a restaurant or that's prepared for you in a cafe or someplace like that. The food that you buy to make your own food, to make your own gluten-free foods or to make your own sandwiches, wherever you buy them, you can, and have a receipt for it, you can claim that back. Okay, and remember, you're always claiming for the previous year. You're not claiming for this year. You're claiming for last year.
I've only been diagnosed last week by my GP, and I heard that you have to have a letter. Why do you have to have a letter from your GP about it?
Amy?
It's just a support to claim if revenue did look at it. Like, you don't need to submit that anywhere, but you just have to have it. And if revenue did come looking at your expenses, then you provide that to revenue.
So basically, I get a letter from my GP, and then so what do I do with it then when I get the letter?
You just keep that in a safe place in case revenue do come looking at your expenses.
Yeah, because I'm not working. I'm a social welfare person. So yeah.
So
I haven't
tax
been.
and income tax and social welfare are two different things, to be honest with you, Eileen. So in relation to social welfare, that's something that you'd have to do through the Department of Social Protection and whoever you're getting your social welfare benefit. You have to be paying income tax in order to be able to claim back anything on through medical expenses. If you go onto the Citizens Advice website, which is an excellent website, you may be able to find some information there about any supplementary benefits that you may be able to get from social welfare in relation to subsidising your diet for celiac disease. If you have any questions, Eileen, why don't you get in touch with us on info@celiac.ie and we'll see if we can find out any more for you, all right?
Yeah, membership
okay?
tomorrow and also something else because for a dietitian. I'll be paying for a dietitian tomorrow and my membership because I want to see a dietitian online.
Grant. So we'll have a chat with you then tomorrow, Eileen, all right?
Yeah, listen, thanks very
Not at all, not at all, not at all. Okay, so I do see here, girls, if you can stick around, there's loads of questions coming in, so just bear with me a moment now, and let's see if I can find another one. I have another hand up. I have Joy Carney has her hand up. Oh no, the hand is gone. No, the hand is there. Have you a question, Joy, for the team? Want to put your mic on now? Joy is gone, so nothing there. Maybe she might put something in on the chat. Okay, let's have a look here on the chat. Let me see. Oh Lord, let me see. There's loads of questions, guys. You never think there were such many questions. I contacted. Let me see. Somebody actually said they were audited, believe it or not. Okay. Well, here's a good question, Amy. Do you need a scanner to upload the receipts to revenue? Like, I mean,
No.
somebody has about 20 odd, maybe 30 receipts a month for 2 celiacs in the family. Just use the picture on your phone. Okay, okay, great stuff. Okay. Oh, Anne, I love your optimism on this. Can you claim back for mileage for attending a dietitian appointment? Pet, I wish you could, but you can't. You can't, and I really wish you could. Can you claim tax back on gluten-free alcohol products? No, it specifically states in the tax law that you can't claim back for gluten-free alcohol products. So unfortunately, if you bought a crate of beer, you can't claim it back on that one. I'm sorry, bud. So the cert from the statement, I suppose is the better way of talking. So the statement of gluten-free spend from Tesco is going out in early April. We're talking probably the first fortnight in April, okay? Yeah, there's a question here about gluten-free lines in Tesco. Joyce, but we'll take that offline because that's a much different conversation, Louise. And I hear where you're coming from, and it's something we will actually bring up with when we're talking with our partners in Tesco. Now, Carmel, what app are you talking about? Is that the Tesco app, the Celiac Society app, or the Revenue app? Because they're the three ones that we will be really referring to in this conversation, Carmel. So just to let you know, it's the Tesco Ireland app in the Play Store. Would that be correct, Joyce?
Oh, sorry.
Go on, Joyce. Yeah.
It's a Tesco question. Is it about the
Tesco
it's about
app? Which app is it?
It's the Tesco Ireland shopping app, and
Right,
Clubcard is in it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or call the free phone number.
Okay.
I'm having a look at the chat as well.
Yeah. So I see one here from Paul. He spoke to Revenue 2 years ago after being diagnosed. They told me to write gluten-free next to products that didn't have gluten-free next to them. And that's something, again, a good idea. And again, like as we were saying, especially from a Tesco perspective, and Joyce can stand up for this one, is the fact that if it doesn't say gluten-free on the receipt, it's coded in the background to fall into the gluten-free category, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know about Aldi and Lidl. They don't have a Lidl now do a loyalty system. So maybe they might do certificates, but I'm not 100% sure about that, okay? Can I claim for gluten-free pasta? Well, if it says gluten-free on the label, Amy?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you claim back for purchasing equipment like separate toasters for celiacs? No, it's food. I'm afraid it specifically says here foods, and we have to go with the cold text that's in the statute on the books, which is that you must purchase gluten-free foods specifically manufactured to be gluten-free. Okay. I don't think you can claim for gluten-free products bought in Belfast or shopping in the north.
You could. You can
Can
claim
you?
for health expenses in different
Jurisdictions.
jurisdictions if it's reasonable. If it's like if you're on holiday there and you're doing all your cooking and everything yourself, yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
if it's just if it revenue say if it's reasonable and
Okay.
like they'll allow it. Yeah.
And again,
just on
go on,
that
Joyce.
one, Jill, if I may. So our scheme is in the Republic of Ireland. So if you're somebody who's shopping in the north or in the UK, you'd need to add those receipts separately.
Okay.
So all of
Okay.
our receipts are throughout the Republic.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you'd still have to be paying tax in Ireland,
In
obviously.
Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the key thing here, guys, is reasonable. Like we said, you know, if you feel that you can make a truthful and honest return and it's a reasonable return, well, there you go. It falls within both of those parameters. Emma, I see you say you've been tested celiac with your GP. You've not been tested for celiac, but your GP has put you on a gluten-free diet due to other medical issues. Can I claim back for gluten-free foods?
No, unfortunately, you need to have the
You need to
celiac
have
diagnosis.
exactly. You need to have the specific letter, the dietary needs. You must provide a letter from your doctor stating this, and it's specific for celiac and diabetes. Is where the legislation stands. I'm afraid, John, no, you can only claim for food, not gluten-free beer. There's a couple of questions about the gluten-free beer. Seriously, guys, it's only been 2 years. Literally, like me, you can't be on the drink already. Amy, can you explain again how to submit the medical expenses online?
Yeah.
So basically, it's through revenue.ie.
Yeah, and you go to my account and you log in with your PPS number and your own password. And if you haven't signed up, you just register and they'll send you a letter in the post in a few days with your unique code. Or I've done it a few years ago now, so I can't fully remember. But yeah,
I remember
it's like a code.
Yeah, they send you out a thing like a PIN number for your ATM card. That's exactly how it's done. It's very, very secure. And once you're set up on that, it's like, and you fly through it. It's very, very easy, I have to say.
Even if you don't want to claim anything, just sign up for tax anyway. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you just go to review your tax. I think it's years 2018 to 21 now, and you can claim health expenses there. And on the main My Account page, there's an app called Receipts Tracker. I saw a question came in there saying that Revenue got rid of that recently, but it's actually in your My Account now rather than a separate app. So through My Account, you can put up pictures of all your receipts and just track them that way.
Good question in here, Amy, and this is an interesting one. A gentleman who's a PhD student. Can people just wait? So the guy here is a PhD student. He has a salary, but doesn't pay tax. So does that mean now that he misses out on his tax credits for the time that he's doing his PhD?
Yeah, if there's no income coming
if he's
in,
not paying tax, if you've no income tax, you can't use your tax credits. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and you never get them as a refund. They're just used against tax.
Yeah, okay. You can't claim against naturally gluten-free foods. This, like, again, I'm bringing everybody back to what's on the revenue website again. The text specifically says gluten-free foods specifically manufactured to be gluten-free, okay? If you've missed the start of the meeting, it will be put up on the website and you can watch it back from the very beginning. Can you claim your tax back on your Celiac Society membership fee? If you can eat your membership, then you can claim the tax back on it. But unfortunately, you can't eat your membership, actually. You consume it in a much different way. You get to enjoy these wonderful webinars and you get all the benefits of being a member with us. And remember, we are here to help you guys. So anything at all, just drop it in an email or give us a buzz on the phone, okay? Potatoes are naturally gluten-free like rice. I thought we couldn't reclaim on Bird's Eye Waffles. You can if Bird's Eye Waffles say gluten-free on the label, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Aoife asks, can you clarify if foods from Lidl such as sliced ham, which doesn't say gluten-free but is in our list, can be claimed?
I wouldn't think so because it doesn't say gluten-free. And like ham would be gluten-free anyway, wouldn't it? Like, so.
Well, no, not necessarily. If it's
No?
crumbed ham, it would
Okay.
have stuff on it. So it's again,
Okay,
it
that's
is a
my ignorance, sorry.
no, it is a process, and that's the thing. And Aoife, this is something, I suppose, these are the nuances, I suppose, that I want to bring up with the revenue person when I get to chat with them, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. These tiny little things that, you know, mean an awful lot to somebody who actually has to purchase the gluten-free product, but may not necessarily be something that was thought about when the law was being written, okay? And again, just to remind people, again, the questions are coming in. So if you're going on holiday somewhere and you're buying gluten-free product, you keep the receipts. As long as there's a reasonable, you can claim it back. But remember, guys, it comes back to the point. If you make a claim of €1,000 on your medical expenses, you will only get 20% of that back. That's it, okay? So, you know, really, that's what you have to remember. It's the 20% is the max you will get back, okay?
Yeah.
But
There's
go on
one
there, Joyce.
from Tom. Tom has an old Tesco Clubcard, but he's not registered with Tesco Celiac. So Tom, if you call the helpline 1-800-248-123, and you can change your status to celiac.
Okay, a good question here, Amy. Is there a maximum claim for gluten-free products?
No.
No. No. Again,
Whatever
just
you
remember,
spend.
it's the 20% that you'll get back.
Yeah.
Now, Carmel, you've made a very good point, and I agree with you on that. Revenue should align with us in relation to the products that are listed in our book, and that is again something that I will be working with revenue, I hope, over the next couple of months to try and get clarification on. So, Carmel, please know that it is something that I actually looked into this morning. I am waiting to get an introduction to the right person in revenue, because there's no point putting in a request for information through the revenue website. It'll get lost. But I have a contact who has a contact who has a contact. So it's a man about a dog about another dog, if you know what I mean. But I hopefully will be able to get there. You don't need to upload your doctor's search to the revenue account. Okay, you need to keep it in case revenue actually do an audit on you. And as we have discovered from our over nearly 126 people on the call today, one of you already has been. So I mean, if they can call those requests in. All right. And like I said, oh, I have a question here from, so look, there's a couple of hands up here, girls. Let me just see if I can get them. First of all, I'm going to let Claire in. Sorry, Amy, go ahead. You're muted yourself, Amy.
Sorry. If you are claiming, put in the full value and revenue will work out to 20%. So yeah, just put in the full value. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, that's a very good point to be clear about. You don't work out the 20%. Let revenue do that for you. All right. Okay.
And with the certificate that you receive in your statement, that gives you the full value, the full amount that you've spent on celiac specific items.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Claire Cullen first. So Claire, I've allowed your mic there. Go ahead, Claire. Claire, you have your hand raised if you want to go ahead there. Okay, your hand is down. Marion, you have your hand up there. Do you want to ask a question? Joyce, you have your hand up. Do you want to ask a question? Joyce, sorry,
yeah,
Carney.
hi, how are you? Yeah, it's just I used to find the receipt tracker with revenue very good, the app. I downloaded it, and then recently I got a Samsung A32 phone, and I tried to upload a couple of photos for my receipts with my grocery receipts, but it's just saying the file is too large to upload onto the revenue. I have my revenue online services set up, and it won't upload.
Have you been in touch with revenue directly on that?
No, I didn't directly put in what was happening. No.
Yeah, you can call revenue. You basically call the relevant number for your PAYE section, your area in the country, wherever you're paying wherever your home address is, and they will actually go through that with you. If you're having an issue with the upload, I would certainly go to revenue first. Amy, is that where you were thinking?
Yeah. And you can actually put through the error message you're getting through My Inquiries. So within your My Account, there's a messaging service, and you can write them a message there and then attach the message you're actually getting when the error message when you go to upload the receipt.
Okay. Perfect, I'll do that. Is that very common with some people's like mobile devices that they would make it, like, is it difficult for a lot of people to upload receipts?
I don't
heard
think
of
so, to be
anyone
honest with you.
having trouble, Yeah.
Okay.
No, and Joy, to be honest with you, it could very well be the fact that, mobile phone technology works faster than the revenue technology. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks so much.
Not at all, not at
problem.
all. Marion, you're with us now. Do you want to ask a question there?
Well, first of all, just to say, I find it so helpful getting the statement from Tesco. And
Oh,
I,
good.
for some reason, hadn't been keeping all of my receipts for anywhere I bought gluten-free food. But because I got the receipt and I had my doctor's letter, I used them, maybe 2 years ago for the first time. And I was audited that year. So they had the certificate and my doctor's letter. And I was very lucky, having listened to today's presentation, because I did not have my receipts. But I think the one thing I take away from today is, and it'll have to be from this year on, well, not even from now on, I will start keeping the receipts. But I think I must be one of the lucky people in that they didn't actually look for the specific receipt. They were happy enough with the statement from Tesco. And thank you, Tesco. It's great that you send that out.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Marion.
Well, as you know, Marion, every little helps. Okay, I'm sorry. It was really bad.
You've said that twice already.
Sorry. Go
I
ahead
did
there.
see, Jill, I saw one there from one of the guys on the call who rang the helpline, and they were told that we're not doing it anymore. So that's not true. We still are doing it. And I'll have a call later on just to make sure there's somebody obviously who has the wrong information. So I'll correct that.
Yeah, they'll be taken out and flogged later. That's
No,
fine.
not at all.
Anne Golden, you have a question. Do you want to go ahead there, Anne, if you can? I'm going to allow your mic now, and hopefully you'll be able to, if you just unmute yourself, Anne, first, and then ask your question. There you go. You're up.
Sorry, I had already asked it in the chat, but I suppose I know you're specifically talking about gluten-free products now, but if the child already has a disability, you can claim back for attending appointments. Does that include the dietitian appointment, or is that separate? Or has that changed? Because I haven't claimed back my tax in a while, and you used to be able to claim back for incapacitated child for attending appointments and such like. Previously, you used to be able to claim back like hospital appointments and physiotherapy appointments and such like for children with additional needs. So is that gone as well, or is it just celiac for the dietitian?
No, you can claim back all health expenses. So any appointments you have with any consultants or doctors or physios or anything like that, you can still claim receipts back. It's just it's still a health expense, but it's outside of this allowed. Like this is just for food, whereas you can still claim back for consultants and all that.
Okay, and would the equipment, I suppose, obviously the celiac disease is part of an underlying medical condition, a chromosomal disorder. It's something that's very prevalent in that case. And I suppose would the equipment, the additional equipment there as well, like the separate equipment that you would require for because of that, would that also be covered still, or is that medical expenses as well?
Yeah, you could still claim back on medical equipment that is needed for the individual.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that.
Yes.
All right, Anne, delighted to be able to answer those questions for you. Right, I'm going to put down your hand now, and I'm going to go to Antonella. I'm going to allow your mic there now. Antonella, if you just unmute yourself and ask your question. If you're still there. Antonella. Okay, obviously gone. I'm going to lower that hand there now. And Roz, you have your hand up. I'm going to allow your mic there now. And I know you've been participating in the chat, so I'm hoping you're still around. You want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay, Roz must be gone as well. Lowering that hand there. And Aoife, you have your hand up, and I'm going to allow your mic there now if you want to ask a question. There you go, Aoife, off you go.
Hello, it's now I'm preempting this with the fact that I'm not the most technical person in the world. I used to use the app, the revenue app, very effectively. I'm finding it difficult to use it now. So when I'm taking a photo for the receipt, am I supposed to use my phone and access revenue that way and then somehow take a photograph, or how am I supposed to do it? Because I'm looking at it trying to figure it out.
So you can take a picture before you even go on the website, and then you can upload it that way. Um,
And so how do you upload it? Because I'm having technical errors left, right,
Okay,
centre.
so I understand what you're saying, Aoife. So basically, the picture's on your phone.
Yeah.
How do you get it onto the revenue website?
Thank
So
you. Where
what-
it's small enough as well.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing you can do is you could email the photographs to yourself from your phone to your email, and then access your email on your computer, save
Right.
down the files, and then upload them to the revenue website that way. Okay.
Okay, and that is easier because
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure, but it means that's the very
Right.
same way you would actually go about doing it, I would feel, from on the revenue, if you're accessing revenue on your phone. Because when you save the file on your phone, what it does is it saves into a place on your phone. You have to know where that photograph is saved on your phone in order to be able to upload it to the revenue website. So in my mind, the easiest solution for this, while it might seem like it's a couple of steps, is that you take the photographs on your phone, you select the photographs, you then email them to yourself as an attachment, you access them on your PC or your computer, your laptop, and then you know where they are. They're saved in a safe place on your laptop, and then you upload them from that saved file folder on your laptop to the revenue website. That's the easiest way I can think about it, Aoife. That's how I would go about doing it, because I don't access revenue on my mobile phone at all.
Okay, that's fair enough. I wanted to ask because I used to just have the app on the phone and it would go straight into my revenue file from my app, if you know what I mean. So I was trying to figure out that step. Thank you very much.
You know what? Why don't one of us here in the office give that a lash and see how it goes? And what we can do then is step it out and maybe put up a how-to on the website. How does that sound?
That'd be perfect, because
Right.
I have a couple of friends who are in the same boat, so I don't think and you know, when you've got different phones and they all work slightly differently, it can be a bit tricky. But thanks very much for the tip.
Not at all. Like, give that a lash anyway. All right, Eve, I'm going to let below your hand for you now. Now, Antonella, you definitely have. I'm going to. I allowed. Now you're just unmute yourself, Antonella, and ask the question if you have a question. You just need to unmute yourself. Okay. Can you put it in chat and we'll try and get to it that way? And I have a quick look. I'm going to lower your hand, Antonella, so that I don't come back and badger you a bit more about that. Let's go back into the chat now. Phone upload of the receipts. Are gluten-free cake and biscuits tax allowed? Of course you can claim back the gluten-free cakes and biscuits. You eat them. You just need to keep the receipt and don't eat that at the same time. So definitely anything that you can eat that's gluten-free, please keep the receipt for it and make the claim that way. Guys, I know there's a lot of questions here, all right? It's 10 to 2, and I realize that Joyce and Amy are doing this, as a lot of you are, on your lunch break. So I'm very concerned that people go and get something into their tummies for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to close off the webinar now, but if you have any questions, will you please just put them into info@celiac.ie, and in the subject, it's very important, put in revenue webinar. That way, what we can do is we can group all those emails together. We can try and answer them with the help of Joyce and Amy, and come back to you with some more information if you have anything. But really, the key things I've taken from this is that, you know, you must be purchasing gluten-free foods that are specifically manufactured to be gluten-free. Okay, it must say gluten-free on the label. Okay, where possible, it must say gluten-free on the label. If you have any questions about the products you're buying in Tesco, you can then request a gluten-free, a certificate or a statement of your gluten-free spend, okay? I'm not sure about other supermarkets. We're working with Tesco this year, so I know about Tesco, so that's how that works, all right? But I would certainly do look about trying to find out, and maybe that's something we can actually do, another step for you. And just to reiterate, it's 20% of your spend that you can get back, all right? So remember, upload the full amount, let revenue work out the 20%, okay? As Amy reiterated as well at the beginning, it's 4 years you can claim back for, Amy, correct?
Yeah.
And you must hold on to the receipts for 6. Must hold on to receipts for 6, okay? So keep the receipts, find a folder, just chuck them all in there when you come in, all right? And then when it comes to doing coming to do your Med1 returns, you can do it. And remember, guys, you can claim for the last 4 years, all right? So if you haven't done it in the last 4 years, you can still do it in the last 4 years, okay? Joyce, just on that, How far back can you go if you have a club card? Say I want my club card statement for 2020. Can I get that from Tesco?
Typically, it's about a year, Jill, and it's to do with data.
Okay.
Now, we are looking to see if we can hold it for any longer, but we're obviously data protection is hugely important.
Yeah.
And we delete everything that's not in use. But I'll take that as a particular question, Jill. And if it's okay, I'll come back to you on it.
Perfect.
Because I'll
I'd be
talk to our
grateful.
legal department. Yeah, no, I'd be delighted to do that.
Great. And guys, I will, like I said, follow up with revenue in the next couple of weeks on the nuances that are mentioned in the chat here, okay? And obviously then I will share it with Amy, who when she's talking with other tax clients, that she'll be able to share that on, and so will Joyce through Tesco Ireland as well, okay?
Brilliant.
I want to thank everybody who participated in today's webinar. I want to say I'm delighted to be able to host this one. I don't get to do them very much anymore because Sarah Gills does such a great job from a dietetics perspective. But this was something that played to my strengths because I love this whole idea of how we can actually get money back from the government rather than constantly giving it to them. So in the meantime, again, if you have any questions or queries in relation to this webinar, put info@celiac.ie, and in the subject, please put in revenue webinar, and we will be able to answer some of those questions for you. Now, remember, we're a small team, so it could take us anywhere up to 5 working days to get back to you. This seminar has been recorded, and Jenny will get that up on the website hopefully by the end of the week or early next week. Again, remember, small team, only 2 hands, but we're doing our best for you. And guys, it was lovely to meet you all here today, and also to have our wonderful guests, Amy and Joyce. And look forward to maybe seeing you again in the future, guys. All right, everybody, thanks a million. Have a great
Jill.
weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Bye.